All bark and no teeth, or all bark and no bite, as they say.
Mm.
We say that about people who just jump and shout and threaten, but when crunch time arrives, as the Americans would say, they fold like a cheap suit.
Yeah.
And I should know. I have a few cheap suits neatly folded away in my wardrobe.
Mm.
That's another story.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, who is the person who's been flapping the gums? Well, none other than Keir No U-Turn Starmer. He just says stuff sometimes just to say it, I'm sure. Smash the gangs. Remember that?
Yeah, the slogan. Yes, smash the
Yeah.
games. Yeah. Sounds good. Sound hard.
Yeah. One in, one out. Does that ring a bell?
Yep, yep, yeah, of course, yes.
And the latest of his bluster was, if you want to work in the UK, you'll be obliged to have a digital ID.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we all know that internally in the UK, Starmer has stretched his tally of U-turns to 13 so far.
Oh, was that a record?
But it's on the international stage where he has excelled, where he excelled. He formed the coalition of the willing back in the early part of 2025
Mm.
when he called upon, well, 35 representatives of their countries showed up for the first meeting. And this coalition was very short lived, as nobody seemed to want to commit to the idea officially.
Mm.
They just turned up to the meetings to listen and to give lip service to Starmer's rhetoric. Coalition countries further afield sort of drifted away the more these meetings went ahead.
Yeah.
So much so that the only three countries that use the coalition of the willing as a reference are the UK, France, and Germany. Oddly enough, the three countries whose leaders are least liked by their populations. The latest decision, the Paris Declaration,
Yeah.
which was signed by only France and the UK, only two of the original 35 that attended the initial coalition of the willing back in 2025, and obviously too hot for Germany this time, as they were absent, and the declaration was for the UK and France to send troops to Ukraine if a peace deal was made between that country and Russia, in
Mm.
spite of one of the red lines of the peace deal
Yeah.
was no NATO troops in Ukraine. So now we're getting to crunch time
Mm.
because the peace deal is almost upon us. Almost a year of barking out loud, and now we hear that France and the UK will only send troops to Ukraine if the US says they can.
That's nice. Ask
So
permission.
there's no teeth there.
Yeah.
Hanging on to shirt tails and apron strings. It's like a political pundit so humorously put it once. It's like Starmer is wading in the sea up to his waist. Then all of a sudden the tide goes out and it reveals he forgot to put his trunks on.
Oh, dear, please, images, images.
But this is not all.
Mm.
Germany and the UK were discussing sending troops to Greenland because of the Donald Trump rhetoric.
Mm.
The 11th of January, the meeting took place to bark about the idea. It seemed that Starmer kept his word, and although Greenland has only about 20,000 residents, the British Prime Minister is to send one soldier only.
An officer, yeah. Observer. Intelligence could
Well,
be anything, yeah.
well, he did promise boots on the ground.
Well, he's done
And
that. He's
another,
fulfilled that. Yeah. He's got two
and
boots.
another political pundit said recently
Yeah.
about the British Armed Forces, they look
Yeah.
like a picnic army with so few soldiers and so little funding. So much so that the UK will send a troop of one to Greenland just to keep its hand in, I suppose. Yep, just like a dog with no teeth. barks at the postman, and just ends up sucking his leg.
That's the BEF, isn't it? British Explanatory Force. There we had it. Yeah. Proportionally to the population, you understand. Yeah. Ah, okay. So what we're talking about is not so much a coalition of the willing as a coalition of the willies. Yeah. Yeah. And I know the American expression what willies means in American English. Yeah. So
And we don't mean a jeep.
yeah. Oh well, yeah. Um, yeah, the Jeep would be nice to have for any armed forces at the moment across Europe, I'd imagine. Yeah, that's an additional extra, to actually have any equipment. Well, apparently the Danish army they can't afford in their training they can't afford blank ammo, so they're having to go around and say bang.
Fine.
Yeah,
That was that. I think that was on a Monty Python sketch once.
well, yeah. Well, I mean nothing against the troops, the armed forces across Europe. They're probably both all brave men and women, and yeah, but
Ukrainian army didn't have enough for guns, and they had their soldiers training with brooms.
well.
Broomstick. Yes,
that
they
hap-
did.
that happened at the beginning of the First and Second World Wars. I seem to recall. I saw pictures of this, and yeah, it's a. I mean, ultimately, you're taught how to march, how to do tactics, and everything else. You're not shooting at any enemy at that time. Being able to use a gun comes a little bit later. Um, yeah, I mean, okay, fair enough. Um, but now okay, the boots on the ground in Ukraine, yes, was rhetoric and everything else, and I'm sure Putin was very, very concerned about all that as well. Um, I mean, ultimately, it is America that is brokering any peace deal because unless America's at the table, the US is at the table, it doesn't mean anything because the US could quite easily turn around and overturn everything anyway.
No matter what
Um,
Starmer,
yeah, yeah,
no matter what Starmer says.
yeah, exactly. Um, Yeah, I mean, Starmer isn't taken seriously by his own people, so he's not going to be taken. And and
On the world stage is the laughing stock, I'm afraid.
yeah, he's no Winston Churchill. Let's put it that way. And even Winston Churchill had his problems with the Americans and others. He wasn't universally liked, but there's a difference between being liked and being respected. I think Starmer is neither, personally,
Yeah.
and it pains me to say that about. I'm still a patriotic British person, although I don't live there, and it pains me to say that. And yeah, I am. I do get some digs from people in the know in this country about it all. Yeah, they wind me up. Yeah, well, not wind me up, but yeah, have a little dig. Um, okay. Whereas Margaret Thatcher's very respected here by everyone. Funny enough. Yeah, I mean, if you ask if you ask most Brazilians, they talk about Margaret Thatcher. They got no recognition of it. Or Tony Blair's the only one they know because he basically says a few things here. He pumped his chest out and said a few things to the Brazilians and didn't deliver. Um, so yeah, when I'm looking at it, um, it is embarrassing. This thing about Greenland, as I say, I was thinking about this last night. Um, President Trump did say he wanted Greenland better defended. suddenly, suddenly his wish is everybody's command. They've now gone in and done it. His method of operation is to say something outrageous and then people jump around about it. The way I see it, Putin's the most influential European leader, most influential. Um, Trump is the most influential leader of Europe. So he's outside, but yeah, he says things. So both you got two leaders there who are outside Western Europe who seem to be able to get things done or manipulate or push into get everything into order or what they want. more than the internal leaders can.
Yeah, I think Trump's pointing out the obvious
Mm,
has shown the obvious. Like you said, Denmark doesn't have enough money for the bullets in the
yeah,
war game.
yeah.
Germany's going to send 13 soldiers
Mm.
up to Greenland, and the UK is going to send one. What they're going to observe, I don't know, because there doesn't seem to be anything to observe
Well,
except for the tundra.
I'm I'm gonna yeah I'm gonna be quite honest here. Let's just say the unthinkable did happen, and there was um okay, let's put it bluntly, a US invasion of Greenland. How long would I'm not going to say NATO. This is not a NATO force there. It's got a NATO badge on it. It's not a NATO force. Because without the US, NATO doesn't exist. Yeah. Um, if the Americans did decide to go in, I mean, if recent actions around the world have taught us anything, the Americans, when they decide to do anything militarily, will do it. They're not always probably the most efficient doing it, but they will do it.
And this is the whole point of this,
Mm,
the whole point of the subject of this podcast. That
mm,
Starmer, he's barking
mm,
far too much,
mm.
and he hasn't got, like I said, he hasn't got any teeth. He can't bite.
No.
So there's no. Why is he barking so much when he can't? Every time he barks, he humiliates himself because there's no bite.
Well, um, in Starmer world, and I've started to use this in Starmer world. He knows in his mind we're all paying attention and looking another way. He's playing smokes and mirrors or gaslighting or whatever phrase you want to use on it. Um, in his world, it's working. In my reality, and your reality, it's showing him up exactly what he is. Um, and
And to everybody else, Mark, it's not just you and I that notice this.
well,
It,
I mean,
all
yeah,
the leaders, all the leaders of the world can see this.
well, yeah, um, across Europe, I'm going to be quite honest, probably the best standing armies, the best standing armies are probably the British, the French, and the Polish. They're probably the best, most capable standing armies. I know you can sniff about it and the troops and everything else. The training is probably second to none in these three countries. Um, that's not to decry anyone else, but yeah, I still view that. Um, but yeah, you're quite right. It is an embarrassment, and he's going around saying this. It's an embarrassment. It's almost like a third world dictator saying, "I'm going to do this, and I'm going to stand up
No,
to it."
no,
Yeah,
that is what is happening in the UK.
yeah.
This thing about the West Midlands police chief, right?
Oh
He
yeah.
succumbed to some third world leaders
Hmm.
in the West Midlands,
Yeah.
and he had to lie
Hmm.
to 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 succumb to their demands.
Hmm.
How can somebody respect a policeman in the West Midlands if they know they're just going to lie? It's
Um,
it's it's almost beginning to become a British trait.
I'm very upset by that. Okay, I do yeah. I won't say I'm pro-Jewish, but yes, I have more of a leaning towards Jewish and things like that. And then, but what happened? That's immaterial. What happened there was, I agree with you, appalling. He succumbed, and there's two reasons he did that. Either he truly believes it, or he felt he didn't have the support of his superiors to stand up against it. Um, and to say the Home Office can't just get rid of him, they've done it before. I think they've got rid of yeah.
Yeah, but they changed the law in the last government. They
Yeah.
changed it so that they can't anymore.
Okay, fair enough. But the guy is evidently not policing for everyone. Like you said, if he's told a lie or if he's used AI or something, and he hasn't had the ability, or some people in his charge haven't had the ability to see through or double check something. These are meant to
Isn't
be policemen. Oh,
isn't policing full stop?
yeah,
Doesn't mean to say it's not policing for everyone. It's not policing full stop.
yeah,
It's fabricating things,
yeah,
and
uh,
he's and these what what are nationally are minorities, but in the West Midlands are becoming the majority. They just told him to shut up and do as you're told.
yeah. Well, again, you can,
And
yeah,
that's what he's doing. He's obeying like a little lapdog
mm,
with no teeth.
yeah,
Another one.
yeah. I mean, it's a. I mean, the world of football. I mean, my immediate reaction is, well, don't play the match there then. If it's an issue, find a neutral place to do it. They've done that before. Um, play it midway somewhere else in France or somewhere. Might just as bad. play, I don't know where you could play it, but yeah. But yeah, play it in the neutral area, um, on a neutral ground. Um,
I don't want to dwell on that too much because I don't want Starmer to be let off the hook
no, I agree.
because the thing is about him and just being having no balls.
We should start nicknaming me Ken. For a previous podcast, if anyone's interested. Yeah. I don't know, I'd have to ask it. Maybe young Eastern European men could probably tell us the truth about that or not. Um, yeah, again, it's an embarrassment. Um, it's not a good look. I just can't believe that I mean, there are people around him now who are beginning to see through him. If you watch some podcasters who are talking to some Labour people, allegedly,
Yes, yes, of course.
and um, I do think his days as the leader and puffing his chest out are numbered. Um, two questions: who will replace him as Labour leader? Forget the country, forget the general election, and they're still going to inherit the same problems with the same people around, and um, and it's going to be more difficult if we had to change of government. It's going to be difficult enough for a more central stroke right wing, whatever label we want to put on it, government to change anything, let alone a new Labour leader. Um, and we could end up with worse, if that's even possible. But yeah, I agree. It's an embarrassment. I tell you what, I was reading the news this morning, and my wife noticed me getting a little bit het up about it, and she said, "Yeah, turn the computer off." Yeah, literally walk away from it, because you're looking at it, and I would say now I'm getting to the point. It is. I said that nothing shocks me. It's not shock. It's just total disbelief now. Um, and these are the imbeciles who are running our country, and they're shouting that you're quite right. They're shouting their mouth off. Everything they accuse certain other world leaders of doing, who are achieving, they're doing themselves. And um, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I feel very, very sorry for the good people of the armed forces who have to listen to this rhetoric and may face the possibility of being put in a hostile situation with very, very little support. Yeah,
Aspect of it.
yeah. I mean, we're getting back to ordinary people, um, and now there's the talk of conscription.